more. So now I want to get into the active part where we're going to dive into some tips, tools for social media and digital success. And then we're going to shift right into a question and answer session. So also within the drive, you guys have a resource called a social media resource for social media growth. And it's a 2-page document that has a list of resources that some of them you can click and go right to that really will make your role as a social media coordinator work well or work a little bit easier than what it has in the past if you utilize some of these resources. I'm going to minimize the presentation because I want to share with you guys a few resources live and in person. So the first one, I know you guys have probably heard of AI, artificial intelligence. Let me tell you something. Artificial intelligence is taking things, taking the world by storm. Some both good and bad, but let me tell you what that does and how it's a useful resource for us as professionals, especially from the organizational standpoint. I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see. There we go. So ChatGPT, I know you guys have probably heard of it, seen it on social, seen horror stories about it, had people, if you haven't, I promise you, the link is in the bio there. But ChatGPT, why this is going to be transformative or why this will be transformative as for you all as an organization, whether from the social side or sometimes just the communication standpoint, is because you can create content, copy that you don't have to think about anymore. So for an example, someone really quickly type your organization's focused in the chat thread right there. I'm going to show you guys live how user-friendly and how easy this is. Okay, we got somebody already using it. Great. I love that. Someone who is not using it, let me know in the chat your organization. I'm going to show you how easy it is to generate possibly a content piece or a sample content piece. We got another person that says they're already using it. I love that. I love that we are engaging with social. Okay, so we got Miss Laura Leon, pregnant women. So let's see, social media. Let's do like this, social. Let's 3 things every pregnant woman should know. So the question, we are an organization that is centered around healthy pregnancies and support for pregnant women. And you know what? What are 3 things that every pregnant woman should know, right? Really simple. Is probably something that as a part of their organization, they know like the back of their hand. But guess what I just did? As someone who knows nothing about being a pregnant woman, I now know the 3 things that every pregnant woman should know should be centered around nutrition, regular prenatal care, and physical and emotional well-being. Now I am, you know what that says? Pregnancy essentials. And so now if we utilize something as simple as this becomes a interactive post that we're now saying, hey, you know what? Now I know 3 things. I'm gonna even take it a step further. I know you guys have probably heard of Canva. Let's do this. Let's create a Canva design, an infographic really quickly, real short, but just showing you guys the power of how the internet can work for you when you realize, hey, you know what? I made it, my friend. So now we can go to an infographic. We won't do one of these. We'll do let's do a quote template, right? And we'll simply just type in the search bar here, quote template, because the beautiful part about resources like Canva, you type in what you're looking for, it brings you up versions of it, right? And so let's click here, right? Really simple. Boom. So what do we know? We knew that the post, because using ChatGPT, it labeled it as pregnancy essentials. And because we're a part of this organization, we already recognize or know that this is information that could be really helpful for pregnant women. And here we go. Pregnancy essentials. Now I typed it, but you guys could have easily commented it, right? I mean, I copied it and pasted it. So now we have a lead post for an infographic for social media, pregnancy essentials. Let me show you how beautiful and how great of a resource Canva is. Pressing this button here, duplicated the page, right? It duplicated what I needed to do. And all I had to do was go back to ChatGPT, copy the nutrition is key component, boom. Now, of course, I have to adjust the font to make everything fit inside of my graphic, but from a base level understanding, content was just created extremely easy. And all you had to do was have the general thought. But think about the information that you may already know regarding in your organization that you could utilize this for information. Now, I see we have a comment that says it's really dangerous. I do agree. I do agree that artificial intelligence can be dangerous, but from this particular standpoint, it's always very important for an organization that is centered around impact to make sure you fact check, because just in case ChatGPT is incorrect, you want to be in a place or a space where, hey, you know what? Because I work for an organization that provides a resource for pregnant women, that the information that we're pulling offline actually does make sense and is truly correct. I think we have a hand raised. Janice, was that you? You can go ahead.
Yeah, Evan, I was just going to ask you to address the comment in the chat and just re-emphasize that this tool is really meant to be a jumping off point. So
yes,
if you just need ideas, this would be something that you build on, right? Because I would even say that having all of this text on one post is probably,
yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's just a jump off point.
Yes, it is. So I'm glad you highlighted that, because I'll further continue to dive into it, because what this does, it gives a person who is now possibly, say if your organization does not have a social media coordinator and you're having to be the project coordinator in addition to this, it is giving you a very, very, very solid starting place. That's why, again, fact checking is very important, especially in the industry where you guys are, where information truly has to be correct, because if you guys are getting federal funding, and I'm sure there's red tape about what you can and cannot say that you have to consider. Like currently my full-time job is with Atlanta Public Schools in marketing and engagement. Before we post certain things, it has to go through legal to ensure that it's not compromising any of our federal funding. So just making sure you keep that kind of stuff in mind. But I'm sharing this because what this is doing, it is making social media management and creation a little easier to navigate and for you to have a starting place. Also, pirates comes from internet, so also be careful with that. I mean, yes, it's the internet, so of course you can put things on there that may not be, that information is subjective. I know people that still utilize Wikipedia, and that is a resource that can be edited as long as you have a login. Kira asked a great question. Does ChatGPT, can you ask ChatGPT to provide references? Let's ask, provide references. Now I'm showing you guys this for this particular reason. Boom. So there are certain things that artificial intelligence has not been able to master in certain platforms. Now, there are platforms that offer resources. There's one within your resource list that particularly gives you content that promotes with you with cited resources. It's called Perplexity AI. Perplexity AI, and again, it's in your resource list. It is a very similar to the platform for ChatGPT, but what it does, it provides you those cited resources in addition to that. So I'm not going to encourage you to use it for a paper, but if you needed something to utilize, you're able to leverage that, because this is the beautiful thing about it. Artificial intelligence has a couple different ways in which it can work well against you and work for you and also work against you. So keeping that thing in mind right here. So also that was an interactive example for artificial intelligence for what? Quick results. Now, there are other platforms, different things. We also talked about Canva as well. And I want to make sure I get to our question and answer session that has so I can make sure I extensively answer your questions. There's also this thing that I know you guys are probably utilizing that it's going to be a great resource for you. I'm sorry, let me share my screen once again. And it is simply just Eventbrite. Now, I know Eventbrite and let's see what else, Eventbrite as well as QR code generation, that can be stressful. Let me tell you why it's important to me that I encourage you all, when you do sign-ups for certain things, if you're going to use Eventbrite, if your organization is not utilizing their website for registration, it is 100% okay. Right? Hear me. If your organization is using Eventbrite for registration, for signups, for ticket sales or whatever, it is okay. And let me tell you why utilizing Eventbrite is a huge weapon for growth that you may not realize. So we're at the Eventbrite homepage here, right? And we see popular in Alpharetta. It pulls up my location of where I am, and then boom, right here, it shows events in my area. Sometimes, people get on Eventbrite and will look for things to do that may not have, hey, heard of your organization or saw your initiative, or let's do this. Let's say events in Atlanta today. So now we're seeing most of the events in Atlanta for today. So I share that because Eventbrite is a great resource to ensure that your information, and we see all the stuff that is going on from happy hours to bingo nights. We're seeing all this information, spring mixers. The Atlanta Humane Society is having a community service opportunity, and it's all because it's broadcasted right here in Eventbrite. So I wanted to share that because Eventbrite often gets a bad rep about a place for event sign up. It's a great tool because you can email through Eventbrite, you can send updates through Eventbrite, you can do all these amazing things through Eventbrite, and also it's another way for you to market or promote your event, your sign up, your registration, or your drive, because you can also, it's positioned and situated and connected to the city in which you are in. Let me also show you guys this resource, because QR codes save the world. They save time. You no longer have to do anything manually. You can always have a phone scan. This is a great resource as a QR code generator, and it is 100% free. And I'll drop this in the chat so you guys can add this to your resource list. It's also on the resource list as well. But keep that in mind. The QR code generator, it is free. You can everything from a virtual card to social media platforms, or sometimes simply just a URL. So keep that in mind, that there's a QR code generator that is available to you all that is free, that you're able to create, save, and you can upload to Canva and add it to your graphic or whatever your graphic is. So that kind of gives, it's free 15 days. I'm sorry, Ms. Benson, I think that may be a different platform because I use QR code generator at work all the time without an account. But so just keep that in mind. But there are also, just in case this one is not, there are other things like also inside of Canva, there's a QR code generator that can help you guys as you matriculate on through. And we're going to go ahead and get ready to answer some questions. But before we answer these questions, I want to share this one particular component with you guys that I think will really help you when you're, as your brand, as your organization continues to step forward via social media, is that colors communicate. Now, people don't often talk about that there's a psychology behind colors, right? Colors communicate certain things to certain people. And so what I want you guys to see, what the colors communicate. So you could probably look at on here and identify your organization's colors, whether it's red and white or red and green, blue and pink. So if you see these colors right there, you are able to see that these colors psychologically trigger something different to the minds of the person that looks at it. So for example, we see red, action, passion, energy, excitement, strength, adventure, and love. Think about this. When you go inside of Target, how much money do you typically spend on a Target run? A lot of money. You know why? Because Target, even though the base Target, the colors are red and white, the brand colors. However, when you go inside the store, everything is red and cream. You know what that cream does? It accentuates the red. So when you step into Target, you spend a lot of money. You know why? Because you're being prompted to action. Prompted to action. Walmart is a version of blue. It's navy blue. The color of blue: trust, power, confidence, loyalty, success, security, purpose. You go into Walmart, guess what happens? You do the same thing. You know why? Because you're in a place of trust and power. You don't recognize that these colors are signifying certain things to your minds, which could be make or break for your brand and your brand awareness. So think about that. And I'm just going to be in the presentation as well. When you guys are creating content on social media, look at this for a second, engage with it. Say, hey, you know what do I want my audience to do? And what are my brand colors already making them do or insinuating to them? And how can I utilize the color changes or color shifts to be able to get a different response out of the people that we are here to do, that we're doing life with or doing organizational growth with?